Hi, this is a short demo of ASIIST. I'm going to be showing short actions of how to use ASIIST and show what kind of information you get out of building a model. So first, recent changes to ASIIST is that it supports creating the software model from almost scratch. So here, I'm going to start with the software design. You'll see that there's no types defined. So here, what you can do is you can define process types. So let's say I'm going to say process type 1. And then you add this process to the model. So I'll add it as virtual machine 1 and nothing else to do right now. So, and then we would like to add a thread to this process, which I'm going to say as FG thread type first. And then I'll add this thread by a drag and drop to the process. And then I'll say it's the FG thread. And then it always has these properties that we're interested in, which you can change for each thread instance. So yeah, I've added a thread. So I'm gonna keep on adding a couple more of this and restart. Okay, so I've finished adding two more processes and threads. You can always put your mouse on these components to see any of its information. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a connection from the flight guidance thread to the autopilot. What you do is you go to right click and then from the pop-up menu you add a port first, and so I'm adding a out port to the autopilot. That's the name of the out port. Now currently we don't have any data types defined, so I'll say FG to AP, and then also add a size for that data type. Uh, and then yeah. Oh, did I push cancel? No. Okay. So data type and the port category. Let's say event data type. And then add the port and then finish. Of course, I'm gonna need an import at the autopilot, so I'm going to also add a import here. So name of the import from FG, we're gonna have the data type because we've already defined it, and then finish. And then you make the connection. Okay. So in the connection is pop-up window, so I'm making an outgoing connection. So this shows that this port is not used at the moment. So if you click on it, it's going to show you all the candidate processes based on the data type. So here it's going to say that this component has this port that's not connected using the same data type. So here, and then I add the connection, it's going to show on the top, and then do a finish. And what you see is that you're going to see that the FG is sending some kind of data to the autopilot, and then also the autopilot is receiving from the flight guidance. I'm going to make one more connection from the autopilot to the FM thread as well, and restart. Okay, so I've added another connection from the AP thread to the flight management thread, and this is how it shows. These components are all copies of the existing process and the thread. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to close the software design and then open resource management. So this is the current hardware model that I had before starting, and it shows you all these processes that hasn't been assigned to any core or CPU or IMA partition. So right now we have a model of a processor that has 4 cores, and then each core has these partitions designed inside as well. So what you can do is you can drag and drop and assign these processes to a partition here, and then it sort of hides more details so that it won't be too much populated. So here I'm assigning this process to another core running on a different partition, and then also the leftover, let's say I'll give it to here. Okay, so if I select this, I can see all the processes and where they're assigned. Now, next is what you can also do is for IMA systems, you can also change the partition schedule using this graphical view. Here, what I'm doing is that, okay, so for the major frame size, I'll say, okay, 0 0.5, so 15 milliseconds. And then it shows all the partitions that are available, and then you would have to define the partition size for each partition, and then you add it, and then let me also assign it for the others. Okay, I'll just say that they're the same size, and what I'm doing is I'm adding a schedule for the CPU for the IMA partitions. Okay. So this is how you configure your IMA systems and assign unassigned process instances that I've created to a hardware model. Next video, I'm going to show how we create end-to-end flows. So I'm going to finish this video because it's getting too long.